And welcome to Down the Alley. This is PMAC.
And Katie. That's
And
it.
and no TS Spirides or
I know.
JP. Off season. We got people in, we got people out. Luckily I've been in and Katie's tagging in. A little WWE tagging. So Katie, welcome back. It's been a few episodes, I would say. How are things?
Yes.
What's going on in your world right now?
I don't know. It has been a few episodes. Finished up fall ball and kind of just needed a little bit of a break before we started SDP, which started and is going awesome. And the girls were buzzing, as you would say, last night. And so yeah, and we're full swing. We're in the full swing of gear pass out, which everybody loves. Everybody loves their gear.
Christmas in
Um,
November, baby.
so it's been nice. Ted did all the design for it. And then I kind of do all the sorting. So it's now kind of I'm doing my thing to get it all organized to the kids. And so our garage is full of sweatshirts and sweatpants. But today and yesterday actually have been super nice. It's November 14th when we're recording this, and it was like 60 degrees today. So it's been nice to kind of just be out there and sling some sweatshirts and sweatpants, and hasn't been freezing cold, so that's good.
Yeah, our guest is waiting in, so I'll make it quick here, but I want to say we're starting to look like preppers because
Yeah, we are.
between our garage right now, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving.
We are.
I don't know, probably in general. Um,
Yeah. Well, we meal prep, and that does we kind of do have a lot of like storage things. We buy things in bulk.
yeah.
So on any given Costco run, you'd think that we were prepping for an event. Not a
Um, Also speaking of training, there's been murmurs out there. I hurt my foot in the 5K. I thought you were going to bring that up. We did a 5K.
Oh
Katie
yeah, that
walked
was
it.
so fun.
I tried to run it. It was a great, amazing turnout. If anyone came because of they heard it on the podcast, thanks for coming. It was a great day for a great cause. And I think it was an awesome turnout. I hurt my foot trying to run. I
Yeah, you're still
successfully
hurting
ran.
from that.
I successfully ran. I beat some of the players. So I was happy with how I performed. A few hours after, though, when maybe the body settled, I may have a slight. I'm day to day on my foot, maybe week to week.
Did we talk about my foot on the podcast?
I
Or I
think
feel like
that
people
was a
knew
while
about
ago,
that, but
wasn't
I
it?
don't remember. Yeah, but I feel like a lot of wives will resonate with this. Like, I feel like you're kind of stealing my thunder on the foot injury, because I sprained my ankle
Oh yeah,
at the
you did.
beginning of October
Yeah.
and was in a boot. And did I get any sympathy? Like, maybe you brought me an ice pack. And then now you hurt your foot and you're limping around. And so I'm
I
not
I
getting
hurt
any
my
sympathy
foot.
because all of a sudden now your foot hurts when mine's not really fully healed. And it's like the same thing I feel like when I get sick. If I get sick, all of a sudden the next week you're getting sick and it's more sick than I was or something. But your foot is now hurting more than my foot was, but you refuse to do anything about it.
Well, I'm letting the guest in. It looks like they're loading up. If you're watching the YouTube, you see the name. We'd like to welcome the Payton Bloedow, two-time state champion, not a big deal. Sophomore, kind of, at the University of Stony Brook. I don't know, the sequence events. Peyton, welcome to Down the Alley.
Hello. I'm so excited.
How are you doing?
I'm a little nervous.
Why?
So I was trying to think, did you come,
Everyone
were
always
you,
gets so nervous.
have you been on the podcast before? I can't remember if you came
No,
on
I
early.
haven't.
You
Just seems like we're
haven't?
FaceTiming.
Oh,
Yeah, we're basically FaceTiming.
I
We
know we
don't
are.
nobody really listens, so just think of it as us three just FaceTiming.
Stop. Everybody listens.
I don't know about that. I don't know if Stony Brook is prestigious enough to have a V in front of it. Is
You
only my
kidding?
Yeah, not just Stony Brook University.
Just
SBU.
SBU, Stony
SVU.
Brook University. Yeah, we're not OSU fans here.
No.
Not fancy like that.
Speaking of, OSU, SBU comparisons, football, I remember getting a text in the last couple of days from you. Was that a facetious text about the Stony Brook University football team? Was that a real story? Was that a fake story?
No, this is true. This is
Okay,
true.
so
I
tell the
have
people.
I have a primary source. My roommate's boyfriend is the long snapper on the football team.
Okay.
And yes, after going 0-10 this season, they will be meeting a new coach soon.
Got it. So we're not breaking news, but allegedly Stony Brook has had a tough football season.
Yeah, rough year for the boys.
How about historically? Have they had a decent team, or is it kind of a struggle bus?
I think they used to be pretty good.
Okay.
Maybe, a while ago.
Is that a big event? Is that a big to do for the girls lacrosse players? Are you guys going out supporting the fellas on the football team, or are you guys going to different events around the school in your free time?
I mean, I always try to go around the school, support the other teams, but no, it's not exactly a big event here to go to the football games.
To keep it loose and to stay on supporting other teams, I would love for Down the Alley Nation to hear about your swimming prank. I think that's a good, clean, fun prank to talk about here.
Yeah, that is a good prank. Two of my roommates are swimmers and we're best friends. And so for part of their preseason practices, I didn't go to a real practice. I thought that would have been a little bit much, but their coaches were there just to, keep an eye on things. But I walked into the pool with them and they said, we should see how long it takes Mark, their coach, to notice that you're not on the team. So they put me in a swimsuit, they gave me a cap, some goggles, and I walked down to the pool deck with them and was, just pretending I knew anything about swimming, pretending I knew how to swim. And he noticed because I have tattoos and pretty much no one else on their team does. And I didn't go into the pool or anything. That would have just been, probably dangerous for everyone involved. But yeah, then I talked to him afterwards about it. He wasn't, it was all in good fun.
How long? So it sounds like maybe it didn't take long, but how long until he noticed, maybe said something?
It took a couple minutes. We went down first, everyone was just talking, and then we went over to the whiteboard with the day's events. And he saw me standing there and he asked one of the captains. The captains were in on it too. And he was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?"
I think that's hilarious.
I don't even know how to put a swim cap on. Did they have to help you? And what if you would
I had help
in the pool and I would
have never worn a swim cap before.
I don't think I can dive either. So
I've never been able to dive. I've always been too scared.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's really scary.
Good, clean fun, as we like to say.
Yeah.
So where do we want to start? Katie, any ideas where to start? I've got a few different topics I want to talk about.
Take it away.
I think
let's start with December 27th. 2000.
No, we're not talking about y'all's birthday. You guys can talk about that off the pod.
Well, that's the day she was born, so we can take it from there. That's when you start playing lacrosse. That's a good place to start.
Okay, we can throw it back. Yeah, let's throw it back. How did you get introduced to the game? Early days of Lax.
December 27th, 2000.
2002, I was born. They put a stick in my hands. No, just kidding. I started in second grade with my brother Luke on his team. It was the boys 3-4 team, and my dad was the coach. We didn't have a girls team yet, so they let me play. And then from then on, I was on a girls team 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then high school, and now college.
Did you use the one-piece green hollow stick, or was that all Luke?
I don't know if I used that one, but I do remember the stick. I actually just told someone about this the other day. It was the metal shaft, the red head, and it was bright blue mesh with like a rainbow shooting string. And I called it the cotton candy stick.
I don't remember the cotton
Have it?
candy stick.
Remember the stick?
Do we still have the stick or lying around?
Probably not. We probably don't, but yeah, I remember Luke used the green one, but I don't think I ever used that one
Okay. Okay.
because we
Uh,
played at the same time. So, I probably had to get my own.
you had to get your own boy stick.
Yeah.
When did you transition to the girl stick?
Oh, I had the classic metal
Spatula.
shaft, green head,
Yeah.
flat as a pancake, just like everybody else did. And probably the bright pink goggles as well.
Ava Schultz played with hers during senior night.
It's a
Funny.
gotta. I'm sure she was like, "This is terrible. How did I ever play with this?"
We all wonder that. We all wonder that when we see old sticks.
What was the transition? Obviously you went from boys to girls. You were moving up fairly quickly, at least in terms of your older brother's eyes. When did maybe start to get, decent? When were you starting to make, A teams or, pushing for, the high school?
So our youth program, we never had an A and B team until we were in 7-8. So growing up, it was always even as possible. It would split the teams. And then once we made it to 7-8, it was usually A and B, and kind of mostly was newer girls on the B team because everybody was, pretty good at our youth program. So yeah, 7-8 is when I made my first A team in lacrosse. And then 8th grade I got pulled up to varsity. And then was high school from there.
I still remember your first varsity game. Who did you play? How did you do? What position did you start at? What was were you nervous? What was the vibes, kind of that first game?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Minnetonka that we played the first game. Do you know for sure?
I'll fact check. What year was that?
It was 2017.
Roll with
He
it.
remembered it, and
it was either Minnetonka or Chan, but I feel like it might have been Minnetonka. But yeah, I started that game at attack. I think we were all pretty surprised that I got the nod to start, but yeah, I'll never forget. First draw of the game, Sarah Pearson wins it, comes down the field to me. My defender just left. I had the ball. I don't know where she went. She was gone. And so I took it to the net did a little crease roll and scored. And it was like 10 seconds into the game. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I might be fine.
I'm pretty sure your first college goal was a crease roll. So maybe it was from like the wing.
A little inside roll.
I feel like we need to backtrack and give an intro because as much as we know Peyton, our other 4 listeners might not know Peyton.
Okay. Take it away. Go ahead.
I don't know if do you want to introduce yourself or do you want to me to introduce you?
Either one is fine.
Introduce yourself. So give us a credential resume type thing of who is an inside look who Payton Bloedow is.
All right. My name is Payton Bloedow. I am a sophomore at Stony Brook University. So I'm technically a senior. I'm graduating this year, and then I'm going to get my master's. I went to Prior Lake High School, graduated in 2021. Took a little gap year, went to prep school, and now I'm here. And I always say that I'm an artist and a performer trapped in an athlete's body.
I couldn't agree more, actually.
I think my whole team would agree with that.
Would you say you're actually an athlete, or do you just think you're a lacrosse player?
See, this is a hard question for me to answer because, as Alexa would say, I'm the most unathletic athlete she's ever met.
Alexa's your sister, and I agree.
I'm horribly clumsy. Terrible balance, not very good at lifting, not the best at running. So,
You have everything going for you to be a D1 athlete.
Yeah. I always say like I'm good at the lacrosse part. That's all that matters, I think. Lucy.
There she is. She heard you talking. In addition to that, you got some accolades your senior year, which you had your COVID year, which was your junior year, but go off some of your resume boosters that you achieved your senior year.
Okay, my senior year, let's see. Academic All-American, Miss Lacrosse. I hit the record at Prior Lake for most goals scored finished at 209. But I think it was like 168 was the previous record. And then state champs. I think that's all the important ones. Oh, and Athena Award too.
And Miss Lacrosse.
And Miss Lacrosse, yeah.
Said that.
Then on to college. What made you pick Stony Brook?
Before that,
Okay.
because that's a whole process. So
I know that's where I want to get to.
okay, we got I know we're family, we're just chatting. Let's dial this in now, kind of like what Katie was saying.
Where
Going
JP and Ted?
what?
Where JP and Ted?
I don't know.
I was expecting the whole crew.
Couldn't come.
Couldn't come.
Normally, I think Ted's at like gymnastics. Ted doesn't do gymnastics. The girls do gymnastics.
How much would you pay to see Ted do a cartwheel?
Also, maybe actually he's not that clumsy. I'll give him that.
Could Ted do a cartwheel?
Spiridi's family doesn't have a lot of finesse. I was a gymnast for a long time, and then I chose hockey though, and my pediatrician was happy about that. JP, ever since he smoked that brisket, we haven't really heard from him. So this is JP feels like he smoked one brisket and now he's on to bigger and better. Maybe he starts a podcast. I don't know.
The off season.
Maybe he's going to start a barbecue podcast now. So we haven't really heard much from him since then. He had a baby Vishla.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So he's busy with a puppy. He's copying me, you're right. Yeah. Except he had one first growing up.
Well, whatever.
So
okay.
They couldn't make it. So you can pick a bone with them.
Okay.
So to get back on the rails here, had a very successful, high school career in Minnesota. Obviously, I'm sure, it'll probably come up, recruiting process was probably, I won't say hindered, but everything was affected by COVID in 2020. What was, your recruiting process, like, especially, maybe initially, and how did it, kind of take it away from there, because, taking that gap year, as you mentioned, how did you get to that decision, and what transcribed before that?
Yeah, so I think, recruiting from the Midwest is hard enough as it is. And then you get COVID in there. And I think a lot of people would say junior year is kind of your breakout year. It's the most important year you can have. And so to have not have that was really hard. Especially, I don't know if I should say the name of the school, but to have the school I was talking to, kind of thinking that something was going to come from that, and then to have COVID hit and just have them ghost me like they did, was also really hard, because I was kind of like, oh, well, crap, now I have no options. And so I have to credit you and Ted for the whole reclassing thing, because I was fully like, okay, I guess I'm applying to colleges. And kind of thought like I didn't have that chance to play college lacrosse unless I was going to be a walk-on somewhere.
Yeah, and obviously, people hear the word reclass, and that can mean a lot of different things. In a situation like this where you want to make a D1 push, it made a lot of sense, right? And with everything that was going on in the world, it made a lot of sense. Everybody seemed to get pushed back with everyone getting an extra year at NCAA, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of factors there. Was that, obviously you ended up going to Stony Brook. Was that a conversation you were having with Stony Brook? Like, hey, I could go here or go there or something. What was that conversation with Stony Brook like once that maybe option was on the table?
Yeah, so once I had been talking to Stony Brook, and kind of decided to commit there, the next step was figuring out what I was going to be doing, that extra year. And so we kind of talked to them like, oh, well, I could stay at home and work and try to do as much as I could. But they kind of brought up the point like, well, it's really important to be competing. And so as much as I could like go to my old high school and practice with them or go to 36 training and stuff, they really wanted me to be competing. So that was when prep school was brought into the conversation. And it wasn't even like we think you need an extra year to get ready. It was just that we don't have enough spots for you, and this is the best way for you to keep getting better until we can make room for you. So then from there, I just did the best research I could, found a school, Williston Northampton School in Massachusetts, and I picked that school just because I made a really great connection with the coach of the girls lacrosse program there, and just felt like it was going to be the best fit for me. You know, academically, I wasn't really needing anything from that school. I already had my high school diploma, but now I have two. Um, but just seemed like it was going to be a good fit to, you know, get away from home for a year, kind of figure out what role homesickness would play and just keep playing lacrosse.
Yeah, and to those points, this is something more common in other sports, right? Hockey players go play junior hockey. Football players might go to JUCO, et cetera, et cetera. And in other sports, they have different versions of that. What were, some of the pros and cons of, going to a prep school, moving away, some of those cons, right? You might be able to look back and be like, oh, that was a good thing. I got to grow up a little bit or get away from home. What were some of the pros and cons, through that year?
I would say going there, I definitely don't regret it. I mean, I don't necessarily think, I had to go there, but the situation that I was in, it was like, it's kind of was my only option. And so, but I've realized today, like, I don't really regret going there. It was definitely hurt the bank account a little bit. But I would say, it was nice to live somewhere else. I lived in Massachusetts for a year. I probably would never have done that if I wasn't going to prep school there. I got to meet a lot of different people and kind of learned that at least, on the East Coast, it's kind of the thing you do. Where, in Minnesota, it's kind of equivalent to like a Benilde or a Blake type of school, but out there you send your kids and they can live there. And so it was just, I mean, I got to play volleyball. Never played volleyball before.
How'd you do?
Not that great. I was tall. That's all I needed.
Could you did you spike? Were you
Yeah,
what were
I
why
got some blocks. I got some, hits and whatever. But every time it was time to serve, they would say, "All right, step off."
Volleyball is really fun to like play and watch, like not really competitively. So
Yeah. No, it was fun. I was like, wait, I maybe could have been good at this
you
if
probably,
if I did it from a young age, but you live and you
I
learn.
think too, it was just such a weird time at 2021.
Really
Like, I mean, your senior year started with masks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like to think that
It's
fall,
crazy. It's still like I don't
so
even
crazy to think of like going to college. And there's plenty of kids who did it, don't get me wrong, but like going into college that fall, like who knew what was going to happen? So I think it really was just like the like a timing thing more than anything, and it just really like was the way it was meant to be. But also it was no harm in that. And I feel like even now it's like kids are so young going to school, and as not giving away too much, but freshman year at a D1 program is awfully hard. And so it's like if you can give yourself that year to kind of get the living away from home, doing your own laundry, surviving on little money, situation going, I think the better. Like, even if you're not playing sports, it's like
Yeah.
go and get some more, like, a, you know, dip your toe in the shallow end kind of thing.
Yeah, and I made connections at that school that followed me here that I had no idea was going to happen. You know, last year we had a goalie come in for her 5th year from Temple, and she went to Williston.
Mm.
And then this year, my roommate from Williston was from Westwood, Massachusetts, and this year we got a transfer who went to my roommate's high school, and they played together. So it's small world.
It really is.
That was just,
Especially the prep school world.
yeah, for real.
As Katie alluded, you know, now you're obviously in college. You're 2 fall balls deep now. You know, being just over a year in. This is the time of year, you know, people are going through that recruiting, signing for colleges, various levels, right? Every level, every school is gonna, you know, offer a different experience, a different lifestyle, you know, everything, right? You know, every school is unique, right? Which is cool. You know, talk about what fall ball is like at Stony Brook. What's you know, what was that adjustment, you know, and learning curve, right? Coming from high school, mostly in the Midwest, you're right, most of your careers in the, you know, from the Midwest, going into, you know, Long Island, D1, top 5, top 10 program. You know, that's trying to make that jump to, you know, that national championship Final Four weekend.
Yeah, I would say last year, you know, obviously being my freshman year, my first time being at this school was a lot harder than I expected it to be. And I think it honestly wasn't even the lacrosse piece. You know, obviously there's an adjustment to make their games faster. There's a different style of play here. From back from Minnesota, they even like interpret the rules differently here. So there's a big adjustment just
What's one example of that?
Oh, well, when I played high school, you know, if you had your stick horizontal in any way, it was a call every single time. But here, that's the way you play. Your stick is horizontal every time you make contact. And so even just, you know, in practice, having people play you as hard as they do here was definitely an adjustment. And, you know, the adjustment to new coaches, new teammates, new school, new everything, new city even. So it's just definitely a little bit of an adjustment. But fall ball is really nice because the way we start it here is we do captain's practices first so that the freshmen can kind of get used to what happens, like what our usual practice will look like, kind of get to know the girls a little bit better, get to know the way people play. But then once we're in practices with coach, it's like it would be in season, you know, like he says a drill, we go right into it. So it was nice to have those captain's practices to know what we were doing, because a lot of the drills are the same or similar to what we do here. But, you know, once you're in that practice and if he says something, it's like you're right into that. You don't go get water. You don't go pick up the balls. It's like you run to the drill. And so I would say that's the biggest thing is just making that adjustment and trying to find people to help you. And I think we did a really good job of that this year being sophomores, just helping out the freshmen, letting them know like where they're supposed to go, what they're supposed to do, all of that. And then, you know, as we got into October, that's when all of our games are. So we have fall ball games every weekend. So we played a lot of games this fall. We played, I think, Quinnipiac, Brown, Princeton, Bucknell, UMass. We played twice. We played Boston College, Michigan, USC, and Wagner. I think that's all of them. So we had 2 weekends. We played 3 games. 2 weekends that we played 2, and then Michigan was just like a game. We just played 1 and we were out of there. And I got to see Claire Nelson from Andover at that game. But yeah, fall is busy. as much as it's not the in season, it's very busy. You're in the weight room, you're conditioning, you're traveling, you're practicing, you're doing everything.
Well, obviously, like each team in the fall, right, or and game to game might be doing different things, maybe playing their bench, not playing their bench. How did the games go? Any teams surprising, maybe upset somebody as you guys were going. Maybe a team, improved. Anything like that as you were playing some of these different squads.
I think fall is definitely an interesting time because, like you said, everyone's trying to figure out their roster, what pieces they have, trying to get freshman time on the field to get used to the game, but also not just throwing them out to the wolves when they're not ready. So I think it's a very delicate balance of figuring out what to do with your lineup. And so I would say, Princeton and Brown, those were 2 games. Brown, I think, was a 1-goal game. So like just interesting to see teams that we don't really see in the regular season in the fall and play against some new people, and some good competition outside of our conference. But yeah, I would say, our coaches do a good job of trying to get people in there as much as they can. And I mean, they want to still put their best foot forward and show other teams what we've got, but they also do their best to get people time. And especially, those days when we have 3 games in a row, they try to, spread the bench out a little bit, give people some time to keep their legs fresh and everything.
Is there any, over the last year, is there any different trend, style of play differences than maybe you were used to, or that's just changing in general in the girls' game? For example, on the boys' game a few years ago, handful of years ago now, everyone just started doing pairs at the same time. It was pairs offense, right? 2-man games. Is there anything like that? It could be something big like that. Maybe it's a small thing, but any like new trends in the girls' game?
I would just say for me, transitioning from high school to college, there's a lot more use of the zone defense. I would see a couple teams. I think Farmington would run a zone, but it's completely different at the college level. There's the shell zone, there's backer, there's just different ways that teams will use the zone. So it's kind of interesting to see how we run our zone versus how another team will do it. Because, man to man is pretty simple. It's pretty easy to understand. They're going to stay with you the whole time, but the zone is so versatile. So it's just interesting to see different ways that you can try to beat the zone, different ways that the zone is run so that they can try to get the ball back. But, we've run the zone for a number of years, so it's pretty well oiled at this point. But there's some teams that will run a zone and then they'll switch to man, or they'll start with man and switch to zone. So I would say that's the biggest adjustment for me, just being used to man my whole life and then coming in to play defense in something completely different to what I've ever seen before.
I think
And
just as a whole, having like way more systems in place than the high school, but the high school level here of like, I mean, that commend a team who's able to like execute a zone in the high school season.
Yeah, and I think that's something that has to be like built up. So I think that's why the high school teams, you have, I don't even know, a couple weeks maybe before you have your first game. So kind of hard to be like, okay, we're gonna learn this. But here, you have the whole fall to get the freshmen integrated and get them, watching the older girls that know what to do and then learning it themselves. So it's a little bit different.
How about the shot clock? How different is playing with that part of the game? Like you said, me being more of a defensive mind, would love to be like, start in a zone or end in the zone, like you said, with the shot clock. You could, if you throw an offense off like that kills an extra 20 seconds if they have to make an adjustment. boom, there goes the shot clock. You know, how big of a difference have you noticed with the shot clock, you know, being there?
I think the shot clock just reinforces how important the ride is. Because you know, that 90 seconds starts as soon as you pick up the ball.
Mm.
So, you know, if you have a really good ride, you can knock off 10, 20, 30 seconds of their time, then it just puts a lot more pressure on the offense, gives them less time to set up and figure out what they're going to do. And so I would say on offense, you know, when I'm out there with the shot clock, it feels a lot faster than it really is. Like, you know, you have 90 seconds, but by the time you get it to offense, you might not have that much time. And so to set something up, to figure out what the defense is doing, how they're playing you, you just have to think that much more. And we've, you know, tried different things to defend that. Trying the 10-man ride like they do in the boys. We've implemented that a little bit, changing the way we play defense, like you said, to throw off the offense, keeping that tight pressure so they don't have anywhere to pass. Because that's the thing that kills you is those fast, quick passes down the field and you can't catch up. And then, you know, you have your middies running up and down the field gassed.
Do you think it's gonna, I mean, it will happen probably here. Do you think like the girls here are gonna be able to keep up with it?
I don't know. I think, you know, even in the college game, sometimes you'll have a stretch where, you know, the shot clock will run out like 3 times in a row. And so I think it would be for sure an adjustment, but I also think, you know, it helps speed up the game.
Spectators love it. The couple of comments I've heard of like it have been from like parents or spectators that they're like, it's awesome. I think it would be, it's going to be interesting if they bring it down to our level, like the high school level, but
That won't happen.
you don't think so?
No, they're not going to bring the shot clock to youth or to youth high school.
I think is that the discrepancy between like a really, really good team and a really bad team, like when you're trying not to score,
Yeah.
that's what it would kind of suck.
It also is nice because I would always hate the stalls. No matter what side of it I was on, it's like
right.
Play lacrosse.
Right.
No, I love the shot clock, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not gonna.
It's too advanced.
Yeah. There's too many moving parts to it
Yeah.
and that rule and managing that. One thing about the girls game that I have noticed that has changed and helped improve the game, I feel like, is the stick technology. They used to do, I think it was Inside Lacrosse, did weapon of choice. So what's your stick? What's the you know, the pocket? I know the stringing in the girls' stick has changed a ton. You know, what pattern or what, you know, what pocket are you using? Sorry if I'm just botching this, as I've learned a lot in the girls' side, but I still have a ton to learn. So yeah, what's your weapon of choice for the young fans and the parents? Parents ask me, you know, what should I get my player, you know, equipment wise?
Let's see. So I'm pulling it up. So we are a gate school. So in high school, you guys know I had the same stick for years. I think I had 3.
What'd you call it? Tweedledee and Tweedledum
in my life.
Pierre?
Yes. Giampiero and Massimo.
Massimo.
After the Italians from Kicking and Screaming.
Yeah.
But I had 3 sticks my entire youth and high school career. I had the beginner one. I moved up to, I think it was an STX stick, with a terrible head. And then I got my epic, like I think they call it a waterfall shaft. And I had that until I graduated, played with it in prep school. And then when it came here, they made me switch it out for a gate stick. Couldn't be seen with the epic, but well, we all have the same shaft. So it's the composite shaft, I guess is what it's called. And then it has flex mesh on the head. So they give us an option between like 3 different sticks. Usually the defenders pick the shorter, thicker ones, and the midfielders in the attack have the longer, skinnier ones. And then I have my draw stick as well, which is also gate. But yeah, I was a big advocate for that epic stick.
They even still make that? They don't make it anymore, do they?
No, I had it. I found 2 more on eBay for like $30 and we snatched them up and I have 3.
Love it.
I'm loyal. What can I say? I'm loyal.
Yeah.
A simple girl. I don't need the newest, greatest stick. I just need my $30 epic shaft.
Yeah.
Before, I ask, last couple, Katie, do you have any questions or Peyton, do you have any things that maybe I missed?
Let me look at my notes.
Katie, what questions did you come with?
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
I do.
You like it, like genuinely like it.
I think they're a good match. Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna get married?
I think it's way too early for that. I saw someone comment on an Instagram.
Someone said they're gonna get married in May.
In May, I saw that same thing and I was like, whoa, it's been like 2 weeks. Let's calm down.
I hope so too. But I hope they break up, kind of, and then she make an album. So when she writes her best stuff.
But maybe she can write a love album. Like
you're right. What's your favorite vault track from 1989?
I think I'm gonna have to go with "Is It Over Now?"
Yeah, it's so good.
There was the little dance on TikTok going around.
Yeah, it's so good.
Every time I listen to that song, I think of this one specific video of someone doing the dance that I saw.
Yeah, learn it.
Maybe I could learn it, but
yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I don't have any other ones. Do you have any other questions? Do you have questions for us? Do you have anything you want to share about your college experience, your recruiting experience, Stony Brook University?
Oh man.
D1 Lax?
I mean, I would just say, I see everybody from high school committing and things. And so I would just say, don't go where people want you to go or where people expect you to go. Try to find the best fit for you. And, whether that's D1, D2, D3, or an NAIA school, I think just pick where you want to go. Because it's about you. And lacrosse isn't forever.
And you got to live through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good advice. What's your favorite thing right now? Maybe a book, a song, a show. Like what are you super into right now?
I've been working on my little artworks. I finished this one not too long ago. I'm working on a second one.
Did you make the ones behind you?
I did, yes.
I think I want to learn how to.
I'm really into butterflies right now.
Is that what you do?
What?
Are they? No, you use the thread.
Embroidery. Yeah, I use
embroidery. I think I want to learn how to needlepoint.
Okay, girl. Wait, is that the one where you like make the rugs?
Yeah, no, like
yeah, I bought one of those. You can use mine.
Okay, like a pillow.
Yeah, do it.
I think I want to needlepoint a pillow.
Okay, I'm really into Taylor Swift always.
Yeah. I sent her like 3
finished. Wait,
this is big. A week.
I finished all 19 seasons of Grey's Anatomy on Netflix.
Okay, I hate Grey's Anatomy because the one episode I've ever seen is the one with the deer. Like the bloody deer in the the trailer.
I remember that one.
And I'm like, how is everybody so obsessed with this show? And so I never watched another episode. And someone's like, that's the worst one.
I probably haven't watched it in 10 years, but I do remember watching it with Mom.
Yeah. That in Private Practice and Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The classics that we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
No, love it. And last question. What is your alley? It can be serious, not serious, lacrosse, not lacrosse. something you're passionate about this week, this month, this year, maybe it's a lifelong thing. You can kind of take it any direction you'd like. What is your alley?
I think my alley right now is defense because we didn't address this yet, but me, who has been an attacker or, more offensively minded midfielder, has made the switch. I've now played every position except for goalie at Stony Brook University. I am a defender now. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought maybe you will play goalie?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I've always said I think I was born to be a goalie.
I think it would be fun.
Personality wise.
I think I should have been a goalie. I don't know if it would have been fun. That's the wrong word to use, but I think I would have been a good goalie.
How are you liking defense?
It's nice. Honestly, like not having to run when we do continuous or full field, like kind of just getting to chill there for a minute it's really nice after playing midfield for so long. But yeah, it's cool. I never thought I would be a defender. I'm always like, oh, like I should be on the offensive side, and kind of was like, no, defense. But then, as I got older, I was kind of like, okay, I need to like be a defender too. So then I started doing defensive things more. And I had one practice where I was kind of killing it on defense. And then, the next day they're like, we're gonna try you at defense now. And I was like, okay, like I'll do anything. Just let me know where to be. But are you proud that I'm following in your footsteps?
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, if that's what gets you on the field, if that's what ends up happening, yeah, I'm thrilled. I think in boys, in the boys game, I'm definitely more pro defense because I don't want to take the whacks that the attackmen have to. That's like I want to be given it.
Yeah.
But in girls, especially the college level, you can give her a little bit. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to make some gals on Twitter and Instagram pissed off that you're giving it to some gals, I'm here for it. I'm here for it all season. I got your back.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if it lasts. You never know if they could be like, okay, this was a terrible idea, go back. But as of now, I'm a defender and I'm doing it proudly. So we'll see. Maybe on the roster online, it'll have a D by it instead of an M.
We'll keep an eye out. We'll
Yeah.
keep an eye out for the next few months before games start. Who's what's the big, has the schedule been released yet?
Not officially, at least not to us. They
Okay.
might have gone to the parents, but we have general idea.
Who's, is there a team or two that you're always starring that you're fired up to play during the season?
Yeah, definitely Syracuse is always a good one. We play Northwestern at home this year, so unfortunately I won't be driving distance away, but it'll also be kind of nice to not have to fly there. Make them come to us for once. I think we open this season with Dartmouth. I know there's a Minnesota girl on that team. So it'll be nice to see how they are. I know I think they've been decent in the past. So yeah, we've got some big games. We always try to schedule good teams for our out of conference games. And we have our top 10 returning scorers. So hopefully we'll be able to do some damage this year.
Yeah, this is a team, right, that has returned people coming back for their extra COVID years still, right? Seems like forever ago, but really, the last year of it. So, is this a team that I don't want to call it the last dance, right? That might be a little, extreme, but is this a team where it's like you kind of got all the pieces maybe to the puzzle that are needed?
Yeah, I mean, defense has been the big question mark this year. We lost We had Haley Dillon at backer. She's being replaced by Avery Hines, who's looked really good this fall. Ella Whitehouse and Lindsay Rongo were our posts last year, so that's kind of the big spot that needs to be filled. And then Haley Duknowski was our goalie. She graduated as well, so there's a goalie battle going on. Shout out to my roommate, Francesca Vittoriti, goalie. Just like you had your goalie roommate. So, defense is definitely the point of emphasis right now, but we've got Claire Levy back on defense as well, who our coach always says is the best defender in college lacrosse. So, take that as you will. But we've got Ellie Massera, we've got Caitlin Hart, Morgan Mitchell, Jaden Hample, we've got Alex Finn coming from UMass, who had a lot of goals last year. So we've got a lot of pieces coming back. Charlotte Verhulst on the draw, Erin McQuarrie running up and down the field 80 times a quarter. So yeah, I think this kind of is, the last dance with all those people before they graduate. So it's kind of the year is how everybody's looking at it.
Love it. Love it. Well, welcome to the podcast world. I'm glad we could be a part of your first podcast. I thought that maybe you were I thought you and Luke kind of came on early on, but maybe I didn't get you on. So, yeah.
You're the best for last. It's fine.
Sorry to make you wait. Probably should have had you on sooner, but this seemed like a good time. Fall ball finishing up.
Yeah.
We're excited to, for your sophomore year, and thanks for taking the time with us.
Of course. I'll see you guys in 31 days.
Who's counting?
Not that I'm counting.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming down the alley.
Thanks. Love you guys.
Yay. Love ya.
And thank you to Payton Bloedow for coming down the alley. Shout out to Stony Brook University. Good luck to her this season. And we'll be back next week.